Algebra is the next area we'll look at. Algebra involves the ability to classify, sort objects, and create patterns. Before children can create patterns, they must be able to sort and classify. One of the goals for pre-K through second grade children is to sort, classify, and order objects by size, number, and other properties. Children grouping objects by a common attribute or characteristic such as size, shape, or color are classifying or sorting. These children are interacting with their environment using visual discrimination and manipulating real objects to help them understand the attributes that each object possesses. Sorting activities allow teachers to naturally introduce the language of mathematics with words such as more, few, many, most, least, and none to describe children's collections. Once children complete a sorting activity, they're often interested in how groups relate to each other. Children may be overheard saying, "This group has more," or "This group is bigger." So now let's take a look at how these skills begin to develop throughout early childhood. When looking at infants think about and learn about shapes through using their hands, mouths, and eyes. They're often discovering as they play with toys, they'll learn that some toys are easier to hold while others roll better. During later infancy, babies grasp an important developmental concept called object permanence. The realization is key for learning and is especially important for developing thinking and number skills. Once toddlers grasp object constancy, sorting by size and color is within their reach and understanding. Toddlers begin noticing which objects are alike or different. For example, when they sort colored blocks into blues, reds, or bigger little ones, they're demonstrating a comprehension of the attributes of the objects. It's important to remember to keep concepts simple and consistent for toddlers. For example, have all the blue and red blocks they are sorting be about the same size or shape so the children are dealing with only one concept of color. Simple puzzles can also help toddlers begin to develop classification skills. As children move into the preschool years, they begin to sort objects with one characteristic or quality. They enjoy sorting buttons, plastic animals, wooden beads, and shells. Teachers should provide tools for sorting, such as muffin tins, plastic cups, empty clean egg cartons. For older preschoolers, classifying becomes more involved by isolating one set from a collection. Once they identify the different attributes of the objects and can sort them, they can then use those objects in creations and in their play. For primary grade children, they'll use more complex concepts by sorting sets into subsets and looking at what materials are made of or what function they have. Older children can explain to you the rules for making their sorting decisions. Once children become proficient at classifying and seeing the different attributes that objects have, they're ready to start thinking about the more complex skill of patterning. Thinking about patterns helps children make sense of mathematics. They learn that mathematics is not a set of unrelated facts and procedures. Rather, recognizing and working with patterns helps young children predict what will happen, talk about relationships, and see the connections between mathematics concepts and the world. Because the study of patterns is basic to all mathematical thinking, it has a close connection to other math content areas. Patterns in numbers, geometry, measurement, and data analysis all belong in the math curriculum for young children. Let's look at the different qualities of patterns. In repeating patterns, a certain sequence of colors, shapes, sounds, or other elements is repeated again and again. For example, we might see a pattern of red, blue, red, or loud, soft, soft. Young children most readily grasp concepts and vocabulary relating to patterns when teachers introduce these concretely in context. Instead of talking about a pattern, the teacher reads the pattern using simple vocabulary and presents manipulatives to demonstrate the pattern. Oftentimes we begin with color and shape patterns, but you can really use almost anything to create a pattern, such as movement, sound, text. Next, let's think about growing patterns. Growing patterns are patterns that change from one value to another in a predictable manner. The growth of a tree, adding one ring for each year, and the rapid exponential growth of a class pet from a baby to an adult is a pattern. You can watch it as you see seeds grow. These same things happen over and over and over again. Young children can generate growing patterns with beads, blocks, marbles, or other items. They can start with a certain number of objects representing the first term of the pattern. Then more objects are systematically added to the previous term and the pattern's established. While children can find patterns easily, you'll see them talking about patterns in their clothes, or they can line up in a pattern. It's a little more complex for them to copy, extend, and create their own patterns. To help children create and copy patterns, teachers can provide them with materials that match the original materials in a pattern. For example, children can use cutouts to match the color and shape of pattern blocks to replicate or extend the pattern. When children have used all the cutouts, they can cut or draw more shapes to extend the pattern. Finally, children should begin to represent patterns in various modalities. Patterns are everywhere in the curriculum. They can be seen in various modalities such as auditory, tactile, kinesthetic, and visual. Inviting children to create a pattern physically, such as jump, jump, clap, or musically, loud, soft, soft, loud, soft, soft, helps young children tune in and understand patterns. Children can represent a pattern in movement, sound, or other medium with unifix cubes or tiles. Children can draw or string beads to model the pattern, and they can describe it verbally. Auditory or movement patterns can also be represented with simple symbols. 1 dot might represent a hop on 1 foot, for instance, and 2 dots a jump with 2 feet. Children delight in interpreting patterns and telling us what they mean. The use of all modalities facilitates young children's understanding of a pattern and addresses different learning styles.